Hello and welcome to Installer Fest. I'm delighted to introduce to you today ADEY and Darren in particular, who's going to be our host for this session where we're talking about raising service standards. Darren and esteemed guests and colleagues, I will leave this all in your capable hands. I'm really looking forward to this session and brilliant. Thanks so much for being here.
Excellent. Ben, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm Darren Burridge. I'm the National Specification Director at ADEY. I'm joined today by Colin Yerp, who's ADEY's Chief Training Manager. And also we've got David Hum from Shelford Heating, a well-known heating contractor based over in Cambridgeshire as well. So we'll be having a chat about how we're going to raise the standards with contractors and installers in particular. But I think it's worth raising, just before we get into the detail, just some facts about the heating industry and how raising the standards in customers' property is so important. So there's 21 million boilers in the UK that are fitted. And what we're seeing is that in the first year of them being fitted, 15% of all boilers fail due to a faulty part or something like that. What's really worrying is that 55% of these fail in the first year. Out of that 15% is due to poor water quality, the black sludge, iron oxide that's in the system there. So that actually attributes to over £700 million a year of unexpected bills. So the stat that always resonates with me is every single day, over 5,000 heating systems fail due to poor water quality. And that we can see a Band A boiler go to a Band E within weeks if this water quality hasn't been addressed in the first instance. So really, I thought it would be great just to start off with those quite hard-hitting facts. I'll throw over to Colin, who can add anything to that. But really, Colin, I think that the thing from my point of view that I've seen is when British Standard changed last year, in April last year, that it was really doffing the cap to ensuring that standards in not just new build or social housing, but also in the one-off sector as well. And David, you can vouch for this as well, I'm sure, that the standards has got to raise with British Standards. So, Cole, what is BS 7593?
Yeah, thank you, Darren. Yeah, I'm going to say, first of all, those figures are a little bit scary, I have to say to you. And I know myself as an ex-fitter and David with his team, you know, those figures are just scary, you know, and we want to make that better. So driving standards was absolutely key. So British Standard, May last year, Darren came along, and I've summarised a few things just for us to go over. And you know, basically, we had to get it better than we had been doing. So look, first of all, a chemical clean followed by a freshwater flush should be carried out, and a permanent inline filter should be fitted. So basically there's an opportunity there, retrofit, that if you go to a property and there's no filter on there, Dan, we've got to get this standard. We've got to get a filter on there to continually protect the system. Okay? Yeah. So that's really a key part of what we're doing. But a minimum requirement is a hot water and a cold water flush minimum. So, you know, there's a standard there already been set out. ProCheck, which we've just mentioned very quickly, is a very exciting thing. When we commission a boiler, Darren, and when we service a boiler, David and his teams are going in and servicing. I'm interested how on your thoughts on this in a moment, David. Is, you know, servicing a boiler, the gas valve, fans, but the water quality in that system is very important as well. Otherwise, the lads will be back, you know, repairing bits and pieces. And we don't want that. So ProCheck's come along, down, but part of British Standard was saying to us, commissioning and regular yearly servicing, you should be checking that water quality of the system. So an excellent opportunity again to get one step ahead. And the ProCheck, which we will go over a little bit more maybe, has come along. So very great stuff there. Also, alternatively, you know, after every 5 years, Darren, on British Standard, in theory, if you haven't had anything done to the system, you should be redosing, or alternatively carrying a water test, a full water test, which is obviously sending it to our laboratory at Sittingbourne at ADEY, and we can turn that around in 24 hours. So basically what the standard's doing, Darren, is it's getting it up there and getting that high quality available. David, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. The water quality in those systems do vary, as we well know.
Yes, they do, and you can even do a replacement boiler, do what you class as a thorough flush of a heating system, and you can't 100% get the water quality perfect. And anyone that says they do is telling fibs. Hence why you do put a magnetic filter on to give it that secondary protection. But you know, going forward, the dosing and regular checking and checking of levels is very, very important, to be truthful.
Yeah, and do you see that, I know, David, that you don't just do gas, but you feature heavily on oil as well? Does that resonate over there? And are you finding your customers are demanding more from Shelford Heating as well?
I think as a reasonably large-sized business in Cambridge, you know, people do know us, and we do try and go that one step further than the competition. We always want to be competitive. We always want to give that little bit better service. We always want to respond efficiently. We always man phones regularly. You know, we always want to be one step ahead, and always look to new technology, new things in our marketplace to take us that little step. And you know, I go back to when we first got involved with ADEY in 2005. We fitted our first magnet. You know, that's how many years ago? Nearly 15 years ago. You know, and we've continued to do that to this day, having fitted one of your top of the range magnetics only not too long ago, which was interesting. So yeah, we are always looking to go that little bit further, be a bit more special about what we do, a bit more precise. Yes, it is. You know, our job is about earning money and hopefully making a profit. But for me, fundamentally, my belief as an engineer first and foremost is I want to do the best job I can possibly do, and retain our customers for years and years and years. And that's what we've done. You know, some of our customers have been with us for 40, 50 years. Only last year we took a boiler out that was 40 odd years old, and we'd service it from day one. And that was, as you said, an oil boiler. And if you remember, that's exactly the place that we fitted our Magna
Pro 3. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, no,
that we did. So
no, that's good. That's really good to hear. Yeah, that's really, really good to hear. That, because you know, we do see that it is a competitive market, not just on the install but also the servicing side. So if you can leave a really good impression on that customer, I'm sure it does increase the footfall of business into Shelford Heating. So Colin, sorry, just to throw back over to you, Colin. So you're talking about fitting a filter as part of this British standard as well. What about if you've got underfloor heating or an air source heat pump or anything like that? Is there anything else that we need to be doing to installing when we're looking at that product range?
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. Again, a range of products now that is changing. You know, heat sources are changing all the time, as we know. So air source and ground source are growing rapidly. So we have a filter, the Twin Tech, which is around for underfloor heating. Underfloor heating has a different issues involved with that. That low temperature of the water can cause 1 or 2 microorganisms to grow, but we need to put biocide in there. Now, biocide is MC10 plus. That is going to help stop that growth happening. So those flow switches in the underfloor heating can be seen and cleared. And obviously, once you set and commission the system, if you can't see the flow switches, you don't know what flow rates you got going down. You know, you've got ground source. You know, we need to make sure we get the right chemical in the system to be able to keep all the components working freely. Now, the temperature of the systems that these systems provide, we don't want to lose any of that because of issues with the magnetite or corrosion going on in the system. We've got to keep that system as clean as possible so we get as much heat from that lower temperature down.
So it sounds like with Twintech that Twintech is fairly unique in the low surface temperature sector when it comes to being one of the only filters that can cope with that type of product range.
Yeah, absolutely, Darren. It's the best of both worlds. You've actually got magnetic capture, which you've still got components, you've still got metal components within the underfloor, but you've also got non-metallic capture gauze that obviously is ideal for that algae, that sticky possible skin you're going to be getting. So yeah, absolutely on the, protecting that underfloor heating manifold is a big investment for the homeowner. And I know, David, I think what you were saying just resonated with me, that word of mouth and getting the customer to say, oh, the lads came in and did a real cracking job, and advise them and showing the customer what the problems are. I think customers, I don't know, David, are you finding customers are quite keen to understand a little bit more about what's going on and where their money is going as such?
Yes and no. There are some customers that want to know every single thing about their installation, and there are other customers that don't really want to worry about it, and that's why they employ us, because we're the professionals, we're the ones that know what we're talking about, and a lot of our customers will take what we tell them as honest advice, and hopefully they take our recommendations forward. That's what we're here for. We are the mechanics.
Yeah. And do you know what, that I think that's really, really refreshing to hear, David, because if you've got a customer that's believing in what Shelford Heating are telling them, then surely that's going to help as well where you're looking to expand into different sectors. I believe you moved into renewable sectors as well, so which again is another string to the bow as well, isn't it?
Well, we've been, Darren, involved in renewables since 2009, actually.
Yeah.
We don't promote it very heavily because it's a very technical part of the business. And unfortunately, as the one that's got all the knowledge and the skills, what I can't afford to do is be tied up in knots with heat pump designs. We are looking at that with the upgrading of Sam to supervisor and surveyor. So, we are looking to that forward. But yeah, renewables with your biocides, with your antifreezes, they're all important, and your magnetic filtration, they're all very important parts to good system design and good hydraulics.
No, that's great. So Colin, just chat through the benchmark. So I'm hearing that there's some big changes coming to benchmark as well. That currently we're filling in the paperwork at the back of the boiler book and on an annual service that we're filling in that in. But I'm right in saying that that's starting to change as well.
Yeah, Darren. Yeah, really good point. Obviously, benchmarking. Again, as an ex-fitter, I've been to many jobs where you go to the back page and there isn't a lot on that back page, to be honest.
Right.
Filled in with the benchmarking and all the the gas system. So now benchmarking is changing. It's going digital, and hopefully by the end of the year will be incorporated. And the idea is obviously when you're registering what you're carrying out on the job, it's actually logged, but there is also a very key section that obviously 12 months down the line, when we come to the servicing side, which is absolutely key for keeping the systems working efficiently, rather than just a squiggle of a signature. We're looking now to answer a few very important questions on standards. Again, have we got inhibitor in the system? There's quite a few more questions to be asked at that time, Darren, and this is where the beauty of that coming through now, I believe, will raise the standard quite considerably, because you must do these things, guys.
So I take then that's putting the onus back on the installer as well. So David and his team, they're doing the job right first time on an install or a service as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's right. The installer knows, get it right first time around, get it involved, and the idea is obviously repetitive business. I want to go back, and like David said, we want that loyalty, we want that customer understanding what our guys do, and then away we go. And it just, word of mouth again keeps coming back into my mind from my days. But Yeah, absolutely key. That the benchmarking is going to be a very large part, and you must be doing these things.
Yeah. So both of you really. So, but I've never been an installer, so I you know better than me. But are you seeing that gone are the days are of writing things on a back of a fag packet and winging it a bit there? Are we seeing that again? Homeowners are expecting a better level of service as well from the heating engineer coming in to do the service or install of whatever product as well.
Yeah, I believe obviously Dan has a really good point. I think they are expecting those standards, and I think you know, as soon as you walk through the door there, we expect I know David's team are renowned for that quality going in there. You treat the house like you treat your own, I hope, and you know, that quality, you conduct yourself and all these things. Back, David, what's your thoughts regarding that? I think it's really good point Dan's made there, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is, for sure. You know, that initial contact with your customer, the first time you come across it is so important, you know, because image is everything. Certainly for us, you know, image for us is you present yourself in clean and tidy work vehicles, regularly washed and cleaned down. You arrive in work uniforms that are coordinated in colour across the brand. You know, the guys carry their dust sheets and their hoovers, in times of COVID, their sanitisation, their sprays, their hand wipes, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that first impression is very, very, very important. And
I think that also would, from my point of view, David, would be that it breeds confidence. That if I saw somebody from Shelford come into my property and they're, as you said, in the uniform, they've got dust sheets, they've got the plastic things to put over their shoes and all that.
Covers, yeah.
It's definitely better than an installer coming in that is looking basically the polar opposite.
Yeah.
There as well. So
I think you said it earlier. You know, we as a business have invested heavily in IT and infrastructure, and we've got our own operating platform that allows us to deliver everything electronically to a customer. So our engineer can go to a job, he's actioned by PDA, he completes all of his reports. So whether that's a safety inspection, whether that's an oil boiler service, a heat pump service, a boiler installation, a benchmark certificate, all of that we have electronically. And I think that's what people come to expect in this day and age. They want to be able to have the information, and vice versa. As a business, I want to be able to go onto the platform, have a look at a customer and see all their history, all their photographic evidence of concerns we've had with the job or videos that we've taken, their job reports, and that's what it's all about. It's, you know, the technology is driving us as a business, us as an industry, and not just our industry, lots of industries. And you know, you have to be ahead of the pack on that, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So the fag packet thing for us hasn't been there for the last, well, forever really. We've always had good systems, but electronically, brilliant.
So guys, yeah, I'm just the other thing as well. What about boiler manufacturers? Are we seeing that boiler manufacturers are becoming a lot more stringent in what they're looking for when it comes to an install and a service? In some cases, I hear of boiler manufacturers offering you know, up to 10-year warranties on their products. You know, you must have to do some serious work there to ensure that warranty is upheld.
Yeah, I think Darren, it's quite an interesting one. I think for me, I've certainly got it hearing about it in the training side. You know, boiler manufacturers want that water quality to be a lot better. They don't want to be sending their engineers out to replace components that 9 times out of 10 is nothing to do with the boiler. I think those very big facts that you mentioned at the start, Darren, sort of resonated with me. You know, and a lot of it is down to water quality. So if we get that higher, boiler manufacturer say, well, I'll tell you what, you know, I think that 10-year warranty, 12-year warranty, I think even longer than that, I believe, you know, it's a long time. And boiler manufacturers saying, look, come on, let's get this water quality right. And, you know, we can work together. You know, we give you a nice, reliable product, but you look after the product, you know, and I think, what's your thoughts? I think we're certainly seeing manufacturers want that quality now, and it's really good to see, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll answer some comments if you may. For us, with manufacturers, we offer long-term warranties, and we're using some of the top brands in the UK. I'm going to be honest, we're not perfect. We haven't truthfully had many major issues when it comes to manufacturers' warranties, because we've been very fortunate that we haven't actually had to call in the manufacturer to deal with a problem, and we deal with them in-house mostly. But I would say, I think the marketplace, you know, if you look on fans web forums and Facebook forums, you can see there are still manufacturers that are really pushing down on looking at water quality and doing testing. Because then if they're offering these long 10, 12, 13-year warranties, I'm not saying they want to get out of them, because that'd be wrong for me to say, but I think it is a way of protecting their asset and their warranty from bad quality workmanship. So I do think it's important.
Yeah. Okay. So, Colin, just give us a quick overview of ProCheck. So, just a very quick snippet. So it yeah. I'll leave that one to you to talk about magnetite and the damaging effects, etc.
Yeah, so obviously, ProCheck's come along down and made water testing available for all, and I think that's the exciting thing for me. And I know David and me have been in the industry a long time, and you know, I think this is just as exciting as the filter. What the filter did for us 15 years ago changed our industry, and I believe the way that water testing hopefully will be carried out by engineers will be also changing down. So basically, what it is, it's app-related water test. It's on-site lab style water testing. So basically, once you get to the customer's property, the beauty of it is now we've got that ability to just go straight in there and almost start straight away with a health check. I'll just check the quality.
Right, okay.
I think, you know, when I was doing the servicing, sometimes, I'm sure Dave, sounds like David's teams are a little bit more organised than I am, but, you know, we used to get there, all I had was the boiler was playing up, faulty boiler, not working. Now, it could have been anything. But I'll tell you what, I think now the beauty of it is doing a ProCheck before I start anything gives me that opportunity to understand what the water quality is, go and deal with the issue. Might not be something to do with the water quality. It might be a gas valve or whatever. But if you look back at the test that you've carried out now, this very quick, efficient test, certainly we can deal with it. And what we can find out that maybe there is a bit of corrosion going on, and there is maybe there's something we can get down on the job card and get back, and then obviously quote it in and get a Magna Cleanse going, and all of a sudden the ProCheck leads on to lots of other things. But the ProCheck itself, straightforward process with your phone, with your sticks, dipping it into the water, trying to make it as easy as I can, Darren, just to say, but it is a really straightforward process. And I believe the results that come back on a certificate, that's the other thing. I think David mentioned it earlier, how the customers, you know, the fact that they've got a nice certificate after the lads have been serviced the boiler, that looks really good on their sheets as well. And I think it's important that we, like I say, it drives that water quality and that standard forward.
Yeah, I think as well, you know, with the marketing material we have as well, like the demo jars, similar to the magnetic sticks, the famous sticks as well. So it's all these types of products that can help David and his team when they're in with their customers to just give that reassurance that they're not like installers you see on road traders, that they genuinely are interested in what the customer's issues are with the heating system and how we can how they can help them out as well, which is for me really key.
Darren, obviously with the ProCheck, Darren, the instant result is there. We can run through it with the customer. We can deal with that issue then and there. You know, and cost to serve, important thing to David and his team. Let's get it down. And I think that's, you know, ProCheck's brought that to all engineers. There's no excuses why they're not water testing now in my eyes.
We as a business have decided to go down the route of, when we go out and do a quotation for a boiler replacement, using the ProCheck, we can actually do a test of the existing water quality before we walk in the door. Now, one of the areas that we've always found ourselves to be a little bit I wouldn't say uncompetitive, that's not the right word, but we allow a price to do, say, a power flush or a hot flush with a full power flush through a system, and that has a cost. And we always offer a customer a discount if it's not as bad as we think, any rate. But what we might be able to do with this new ProCheck system is actually look at the water quality and give it like a banding of A, B, C. So A being the cleanest, C being the dirtiest. And the surveyor, when he takes his test, he can do a report. He can say, well, we've got a water quality of A, therefore it isn't going to need an 8-hour, 9-hour, 10-hour power flush. It's going to be a 3-4 hour hot flush with maybe we've got a special device we've made to enable us to flush straight from cold water supplies, as well as our power flushing and double magnetic filtration systems. So from our point of view, doing our test at quotation stage gives us a chance to get in the door and win the work. When we've got the job, we'll have the ProCheck completed after the job's been done, so we can then have a before and after event. And then road, the one thing we will be implementing is a yearly check on every system we do. Now, I would say 50 or 60% of the jobs in our business for service and maintenance have magnetic filtration. So we're hoping that when the guys do the service on the magnetic filter, which we do every single year, we take it out, remove it, clean it as part of the service. At the same time, that water quality that's in that magnet, there's no reason why we couldn't use that as a test sample, and then say, well, we've got a good idea of what the water quality is, and then you can see what's going forward. So the test for the guys when they're doing the service, it's a 2 or 3 minute operation. To the customers, it's a free of charge service. They get a report from it every year. It's giving value back to the customer, and that's what we're trying to do.
No, that's really good to hear. So yeah, no, I think just to wrap up, it sounds like, Colin and David, that you've seen a massive shift from when you were youngsters out on the tools, etc.
Are you saying I'm old?
No, definitely not. But we've seen a big shift to more of a technological way of working, and that we're looking from a customer point of view. They're demanding more from a heating engineer, and that there isn't the acceptance of working off a fag packet and coming in looking fairly scruffy. That the norm now is to be that professional heating installer that's actually knows what they're doing, and it's really refreshing to hear as well, David, about doing this before and after water testing, which I think's really good, because that I would suggest would be able to breed comfort to the homeowner, that they can see that you've done the job right first time as well.
Correct.
So,
but it's not only that; it's an audit process as well, because a year down the line, when the guy goes and services the boiler, which will be a different engineer who installed it, if the results come back after a year and there's something changed, we will be asking questions of the customer, like, have you drained down the system? Have you put any new radiators in? You've got a lack of inhibitors in. Is there a leak in the system on an open vented type of situation? So there's a lot more information we can get from it. We are seeing a lot of heating systems now that getting pinholes in the radiators, and they're getting continual flushing of water going through a system, which causes the debris and the build-up and the sludge and so on and so forth, or it's pumping over. So it tells you a lot more about a system. It's not just about, it's about prevention.
yes,
it's not the cure, it's prevention as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, if we can reduce that £700 million a year cost to the to installers, etc., and stop putting plasters on heating systems, that's only going to be a good thing from a homeowner's point of view, but also from your point of view, not having to go out, and I would presume your spare part costs reduce as well if you're attacking the issue front end, rather than having to keep, as Colin said, replacing pumps or flow sensors or whatever.
I'm going to be honest with you, and I said it earlier, I know that we do a good, very good flush. We use good quality magnetic filters, yours. And at the end of the day, you've got to put into the flushing and the cleansing of a system to get out what you need. So
Yeah.
we, as a rule, don't suffer with the pump failures and the zone valve. We just don't see it because we're doing our job first.
Yeah.
I very much see this where the market, where we haven't done any work for a customer and we go in and we're seeing problems, that's when we can start to respond and say, this is where your problem is, madam. Because up until now, you know, if we wanted to do a water test sample, it would be take a water sample, send it to you or to others, get it analysed, which is, 24, 48 hours. But what we were suffering with is you want to be able to deal with it there. You've got the engineer on site. He can't tell whether that water's good or not. And we even went to the extreme of buying a test kit where you put dyes in and all sorts of things. It was a nightmare. You know, it would take you an hour to get a water result. Now, I've got it within 2 or 3 minutes and it tells you a lot about what's inside. We haven't got expert vision at the end of the day, but we have now.
No. Yeah, no, that's very good. So yeah, so for me, it's great. It's great news. I just see it's a real positive. So yeah, Ben, I just think that from our point of view, customers are demanding more. We're demanding more on ADEY's research and development team as well to bring out better quality, more innovative products such as ProCheck and other products that we're working on as well. So it's only a good thing from our point of view. And I'm sure with ProCheck now in place, more and more installers can actually adopt this process to their servicing and install regimes to actually show that their customer that they're doing the job right first time as well.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks so much for coming on. Thanks, Darren. Thanks,
No problem.
ADEY, for this. Hopefully you found that really useful, because I think you're right, Darren. You know, these are the practical things that we can all do now as installers to take away from this session. And hopefully we will see you again soon. So thanks very much for listening. Thanks, Darren. Thanks, Colin. Thanks, David, for your time here today. And hopefully you found that really useful.
Yes.
Excellent.